Hello. Damn. Oh, it looks like the on-screen chat is being a little bit slow. Refreshing did not work. That's annoying. Yeah, sorry. Having a cold sucks. Is my chat not loading? I'm just gonna get a flood of messages, aren't I? Like the chat on my screen, I mean. Okay. No. It's still there, it's just no one's chatting. I see. Sometimes hard to tell. Wait, it's working after the test message. Like, on my OBS, as well as on the thing now. This is weird. Yeah, it's doing weird things. I don't know how to solve it. So I'm just gonna ignore it for now. 4 minutes in, may as well switch. Good, I did reset the crash counter after last stream. Just genuinely struggling what to think of, well, what... Can I English? I was struggling to think of what to do for this stream, but I decided to just continue what I was doing last stream, which is the big sketch page. And last stream, it looks like we got a total of 13 crashes. Oh man. So that's... yeah, last stream, in terms of connectivity, did not go well. Last time I streamed satisfactory? Let me check. So I can just check by going to my... whatchamacallit? YouTube creator thing. Jeez, it's lagging. Oh. Are we back? Have we returned? Are we back? Hello? Have we returned? Good. And to answer the question of when was the last time I streamed Satisfactory, 21st of September last year. So it's been a good 8 months since I streamed Satisfactory. So that's kind of crazy. Also, I really like this picture I made. It's the rocket launch. It looks pretty good from a distance and up close. I managed to make it look like clouds. Let's go. Anyway, I need a new idea. It needs to be something big, so I can encompass an area. What's that? I just need to look that up. Oh crap, I opened Modrinth. Oops. Images. Oh, that's weird. No, I haven't. I haven't watched Project Hail Mary. In fact, I've barely even heard of it. Oh, can I? Yes, I can. I can shift my browser over to my main screen without you guys seeing. Excellent. From what I'm seeing, first of all, that apparently it's both a book and a movie, but the movie version, it looks like this weird 3-stack rocket in a with a 3-way symmetry. Like, wait, hold up. Let me... No, I shouldn't do that. That's a bad idea. Let me just see if I can drag and drop. File does not exist. Thank you, Medibang. Okay. Sounds interesting. I mean, the ship looks cool. Okay. Wait, is it that rocky alien thing? Like that rock spider alien from, Okay, spacecraft is important part. Wow, the on-screen chat is not keeping up. um... Let me drag this in, if I can. Will it let me? Please let me. File does not exist. Frick you. Save image as. Let's drop it into art. Working on stream art in progress. You know what, let's just pop it here. Open. It's a WebP. Ah, well. Copy over. This is the one I'm looking at. Go, just catching up on chat messages because I couldn't see him for a second. Launch stages of the ship. Barely get screen time, makes sense. I don't really mind if it gets spoiled. Anyway, this is one of the images I pulled up from Complaint on Reddit. Also, if that's the design of the ship, that's kind of crappy design. Like, I'm gonna be real. 3 disconnected sections. Much better to have one wider in, like, fully, like, one cylinder. Can I English, please? So instead of, like, these 3 here, let me make that red so it's distinct. Photon engines. Matter engines? That's what that is sounding like. Jeez, can I English? But anyway, back on commenting on design, it'd be better if it just had one larger section here, because then you'd get more space for the same amount of mass. So... which part is the central lab? This section? Wait, okay. From what you're saying, let me add an additional layer so I don't mess this up too much, that this section here is lab, central lab. And these sections, basically fling out. Let me remove those. Those 3 sections basically fling out so it looks like this. And it's spinning. Is that right? No? So it's hiding in here. Like the lab part. So these bits are fuel tanks. Is that what you mean? Okay. Meanwhile, I'm gonna jump back here. I'm gonna basically cut off that section and see what I can do with this area here. Well, I don't need to have this. You know what, let's... oh, frick. That's, I think it was 1550. Are we back? Please tell me we're back. Hello? Have we come back? Are we back? Hello? Hello, are we back? Can I know if we are back? Hello? Jesus, chat just not updating for me. Hello? Are we back? Yeah, I'm gonna count that as a third crash because I had to restart the stream. Oh, that's weird. Anyway, moving on. So if I go and real quick... pull this up here. There we go. Alright. Time to try and understand this thing. So, this is the lab section. This bit here. Yeah, sorry. Am I right about that? Cool. And I'm guessing it spins like that around this axis here. Right? No? So those are axes following along. This one is the through the middle of the... Oh, here-ish. So it's rotating around here. I'm just going to make that a bit better. So the rotation axis is, if this is the axis, it's going around that one. Yep, that's the wrong thing. So it's going around this axis here. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That was probably an orbital assembly in that case. That was a multi-launch before it got sent off to wherever it was going, because there's no way they would put all of this in one rocket. That's just inefficient. Although movie logic is a thing, so... it doesn't show you in the movies? That sucks. Movies? Movie? Yeah. That's annoying that you don't see a launch. Would have been fun. Rip. Drop my pen. Okay. Oh, wait, this is still sucky design. It'd be... You need tethers going like... this in order to prevent those bits from flexing down. And in fact, those bits would have to be curved up like this so that the gravitational force is equal. Because out here, this... oh crap. Is stronger than it is here. Like, it's stronger here than it is here simply because this is further out from the center. So it'd have to bow upwards. This really is... This is very movie-coded design. Like, this is seriously movie-coded design. Yep. You know what? I'm gonna make something that's inspired by that, but not actually like that. Something that would probably work. So, based on the information given, like, that you've told me, is that apparently the engines work on light, so they produce an enormous amount of light in order to generate thrust, which very likely means matter-antimatter, is how they generate that, if they're annihilating fuel. Infrared? What wavelengths would matter-antimatter annihilation make? Yeah. Let's say... well, okay, you'd want a material that would have... that would release a lot of light. Like a lot of high energy light. So you'd want something high frequency, because that would maximize the momentum you'd get. Nah, white is just a mixture of multiple frequencies. If you have mixed material, then yeah, it would be white. But if you had singular material, it would probably be one, like a single or a couple wavelengths that have a similar range. Right? Because if I sketch this out, white light is this sort of thing. Yeah, can I please draw the wavelengths properly? White light is that sort of thing. Like multiple length wavelengths put together, that's white. Whereas what I'm thinking Annihilation does is it produces singular wavelengths, maybe one or two, if it's a singular material. Like, do I got that right? It's been a while since I've looked at optics. Anyway, if we're to... Anyway, I'm just gonna... Well... Yeah, kinda. Highest efficiency engine would use something like gamma radiation. Well, it would produce gamma rays. Yeah. Purples... You know what? I'm actually gonna have a look. Never mind, I'm not. I cannot be bothered. Anyway, I'm gonna start drawing with a design based on this. Yeah, well, also consider I'm not really gonna have color. It's just gonna be black and white, mostly. So let's say the engine module occupies this space here. Tether, central tether, this would be like the main support. Something like that. And then the lab unit be, I think that's roughly the middle here. Hold on, I can verify. Okay, if I go, that's 4 fingers. That's 4 fingers. Right, here we go. That means I can just pop. Lab unit would be something like this. Like, if we're keeping that separated idea, and I'm sort of looking at it from top down. So this engine module, this would be where the engine and fuel would go. Let me just straighten it up a bit. Let me shrink that down to 40. 40 is good. There we go. So here's the central point. Let me bring that up and just widen this a bit. Alrighty, so over here, that probably needs to be significantly bigger. Crap. Okay, wait, let me restart this, but be smarter about it. Okay, give me a bigger one. Alright, grab out the grid. Yep, constant in relation to the screen. Alright, we're gonna put it middle here. Three units out on both sides. Yeah. So if we make that in the middle, 3 units out, that gives me plenty of space. 3 units out. Yeah, that gives me enough space. Let me grab this, click the settings icon, chuck it in here. So just leave that for later. Now over here. I reckon what it'd look like is, yeah, the tether's still in this section. This is kind of the furthest it can pop out. So I reckon the matter antimatter tanks would go one on each side so that there's separation. Now, that wouldn't really matter. No, it would matter. It would matter a lot. You really do need that separation. So to come along like this. One's matter, one's antimatter. They meet up. There's a little bit of extra space in the middle here, which is where the living space, which will be over here, that's where the living space slots into. Let me extend these slightly. Go. Nope. Let's get that out. Alright. Go like... this sort of idea. And at this point, this is where the actual engine nozzle would go. Well, the engine bell, sorry. This bell would have these really thick external struts. which double as a coil. Let's be fancy and give it 6 of them. Which means I shouldn't have done the opposite side. That's me. That's because I didn't think about how this thing worked before drawing. A rookie mistake. So this would be the engine bell. And what those big struts are is basically big ass magnets which will push the matter and antimatter together so that they collide and annihilate. And it'd have essentially a thin, highly reflective membrane in here. So if I just do this sort of thing, and also get a small eraser so I can deal with mistakes. That's not brush tool. Alrighty, pop this in. Yeah, I reckon it'd be single nozzle. Yeah, single nozzle would be significantly safer than a multi-nozzle. We're dealing with antimatter in this engine, so having only one failure point, yeah, that's significantly better than having potentially 4 or 5. It's literally multiplying the risks associated with it. There you go, that looks fairly good. Alright, remove this little bit. Clean that up a bit. Now, this section in here is basically useless. It is entirely there to support the tether and dock with the lab when it's pulled in. That is the entire reason this section is here. I mean, maybe it'll have, like, a couple reaction wheels in here. Like, in this section here, that's a reaction wheel. Like, a big-ass set of reaction wheels. So that it can more easily, you know, control. Like, it's more controllable, but otherwise, that's basically just empty space. Maybe it'd probably have a few batteries too, to be honest. But other than that, nothing. Genuinely nothing. Yeah, like also the fuel tanks would be rather wild. Basically, one would be a giant electromagnet surrounding the antimatter version of the fuel, while the other one would just be a tank of regular matter with essentially extra weights so that it balances out between here and here. Because that minimizes the risk of, well, if the thing fails, what I presume would happen is you'd have the antimatter, it's biased to sit towards the inner edge, so there'd be a bigger gap here than down here, because in that event, when it annihilates... Crap. That is crash number 4. Um, 4310. Are we back? Have we returned? Sorry. Have we returned? Are we back? Please? Anyone? Hello? Have we returned? Anyone? Are we back? Oh, there we go. Now my chat has updated. Nice. The on-screen chat still hasn't updated. That's genuinely really annoying. Anyway, so as I was saying before we were rudely interrupted, is that I think the antimatter would be biased towards the inner edge, because if containment fails, it's going to hit the inner edge first, basically blow up, and the antimatter is going to send in the opposite direction of the matter tank to prevent further catastrophe. Although, if they were in the same major tank, it's like this major tank had matter and basically a matter and antimatter tank in it, again, the antimatter would sit along the outer edge so that if containment fails... No, it would matter. I'm pretty sure it would matter because the energy from the annihilation would push the antimatter away. I mean, yeah, a human would probably die if they were in this middle section, but if it was in operation like this, like if you were floating through space, that's where... Because the electromagnets have to be active constantly, right? So, if the electromagnets fail, it's going to... and you're in deep space, at the very least, you will survive. The engine is fricked, but you will survive at least long enough to maybe figure out a solution for getting in orbit around something. You definitely lose this chunk of engine, but I'm certain they would have failsafes on the lab itself for a bit of maneuvering. Crap, there goes my pen. Give me a second. I've got caught in my headphone cord. My headphones are fine. Thankfully. What was I saying? Whatever. Let's just continue. Alright, to power the electromagnets, space is dark. Like, really dark. So, if you wanted to use starlight to power it, you're basically fricked. You'd need solar panels with an enormous surface area, to the point where it's really impractical unless they were micron thin. And at that point, if you did have functional micron thin solar panels, they would act as solar sails. No, even in the space between stars, like even within a dense galactic neighborhood, it's still really dark. Because, like, remember, squared cubed law for light, twice the distance means you lose 4 times the light. So, even, like, going between Earth and our closest star, I think it's Alpha Centauri, that's still a bit over 4 light years. In the middle of that, that's still an incredibly low amount of light. Like, we're talking, you'd need solar panels with an area measured in tens of kilometers to have the same efficacy that a single square meter has on the surface of Earth. Simply because of how little starlight there is. Like, it may seem bright, but it's not. Space is so dark. Yeah, No Man's Sky lied. Like, I mean, I haven't done the maths behind the luminosity at that distance, but space really is dark. Because I'm pretty sure space has a temperature of just 3 Kelvin. I think that might actually be just the cosmic microwave background. But still, 3 Kelvin on average, that is a minuscule amount of energy. So you'd need a lot to pull from the ambient radiation. Okay, yeah, that's true. Light doesn't have a temperature. I'm probably mixing up concepts at this point because I know this from very informative YouTube videos, but just YouTube videos. Yeah, it might be the average temperature of everything. Although somehow I don't think so, considering how high energy matter is. Like, most matter. Because most matter is wrapped up in stars and planets. I think. Don't quote me on that. Oh crap. No, go back to full. Anyway, so powering the electromagnets, you'd need enormous solar panels, but not only that, they'd need to go it pretty much every which way. Like, they'd be so large that it'd basically, like, in relation to this thing, basically solar panel out like that. And that's probably not even enough. So in order to power the electromagnets, either you'd have to have enough batteries to last, or you'd need some other way to generate the power. And I mean, you already have matter-antimatter, so it wouldn't be hard to siphon a bit of your fuel for power. That's what this section is. It is your power. This section in here pulls a bit of the matter and antimatter and converts it into the electricity used to power the entire ship. So in here, let me just 3Dify this a little. So this entire barrel holds the tether mechanism. Like, in this top slice here, it's just the tether mechanism. And maybe some extra supply of something. I don't know what, but something. Let me also 3Dify these sections here. So you'd siphon a bit of your propulsion, probably not much considering how much energy is wrapped up in annihilation events. So you'd siphon a bit of your fuel in order to A, contain your fuel, but B, power everything else. Did chat freeze? Are we back? I just looked at my Discord. Yeah, we're back. Hey, the on-screen chat is back. Finally. Anyway, so in this little slice would be the tether mechanism. And in this big chunk would be your electricity generation, which siphons just a little bit of both antimatter and matter into it, which would allow for basically an annihilation electricity generation. An annihilation-based electricity generator. That'd work, and in here is basically just a cone. Like, this would probably be reaction wheels and batteries. So yeah, that section... Oh, come on! We back? Nice. Yep, it crashed. Yeah, it is. That's interesting. Yeah, we had Crash 5 at 55 minutes in. Anyway, so this tiny cone section would be dedicated to batteries and, whatchamacallits. Frick, I just, reaction wheels. Reaction wheels. There we go. Then, along the outside of both the tanks, you would have, extendable solar panels. Like, really big ones. Sort of a set of 6 on each tank. angled outwards, like sitting so that they're angled outwards. You'd also have pair of radiators, well, a set of radiators on each side of the power generator, because you don't want to burn to a crisp. These solar panels would be massive, and they'd fold and they'd collapse inwards. They would probably still be extended during flight, just because any power is good. Like, any amount of power is a good amount of power in deep space. That's a thick line. Give me a second to reset chat on my screen. No new messages so far as I can see. So we would see ones out the back. How straight is that? That's actually fairly straight. Go me. Here. Oh boy. Here. 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 These lines are very wobbly. I know why. It's because the edge is supposed to extend slightly in. It's supposed to be like here. Why is getting this line right so difficult right now? Good enough. About here. Is no one messaging in chat, or is my chat just not showing the messages? That is my current question. Okay, it's working on my OBS, but it's not showing up on the display chat. Are you kidding me? That's annoying. Really annoying. Alright, now I have to mirror that over here. Damn you. How big are those? 3.5. 3.5. These ones end at about half between. These ones are about here. No, I did not want to zoom all the way out. The tanks are different sizes. I'm not going to fix that. Not at this point. Well, they actually extend to about here, here, and here. Yeah, there. Bit more aggressive, but oh well. Alrighty. It's not quite done. Thought I almost finished the solar panels, but nope. Not done yet. Just realized, considering the size of just the engine bell, this is gonna have to be repositioned. Downwards because I was pressing Windows. Because the living area / lab is certainly going to be significantly larger. Can probably slot it in here and have plenty of room for the lab area. There we go. Although, how big would it actually be? Because if we're saying this is for interstellar travel, this engine area is big. Like, we're talking huge. Because with interstellar travel, you are guaranteed to reach appreciable levels of the speed of light. Like, you're going to reach appreciable percentages of the speed of light. Absolutely. Like, if you don't want the journey to take literal generations, you will be going at least 10% the speed of light. At least. And even then, the trip would take years for the closest star systems. So that engine assembly is massive, I'm now realizing. It is completely and utterly enormously, like, it is ridiculously sized. Sorry. My nose is stuffy. Uh-oh, there might be a crash. There was no crash. It did not crash. Damn. Sorry, I was looking at the kilobits per second on OBS. Yeah, it seems fine. I was looking at the kilobits per second and it dropped to the red. It's in the yellow right now, but apparently we still got 5,000-ish kilobits per second. So I'm not sure what it's doing. I'm hoping that this isn't a sign that it'll start crashing. Anyway, on to the lab section, which will probably be massive because of the sheer amount of water surrounding it. You know, as a radiation shield. And there it is. I might pass. Wait, what is that button? Oh, that's 1-to-1 on my screen? Anyway, 1:11:30, I think. Anyway, are we back? Excellent. It seems it was a harbinger of a crash. Great. Oh, sorry. You know what? Let's set a length scale. I am going to call here. So this point here. Let me zoom in so that I can properly mark it. So this point here is star, well, X. That's X. And you know what? Yeah, let's keep middle of the tether being our focal point. Let's just drop this. Like, let's add the marker here. This one's O. And let's just jump up here. X to O. 1 kilometer. So that's 1 kilometer there. Which means this entire X engine section is... I'm using my fingers on my screen as a measuring device. Lands about there. Which is about 660 meters. So this assembly is 600 meters long. It's more than half a kilometer long. Actually, that's kind of sensible when we're talking about interstellar spacecraft. Like, plausible interstellar spacecraft. For a single person and a lab system, an assembly that's 600 meters long seems pretty plausible. Like, an engine assembly that long. That means that thing's heavy. The center of rotation would probably be like here, unless the lab section were equally massive. And when I say massive, I do mean enormous amounts of mass. Actually, is that the etymology of massive? No, sorry, definition of massive. I'm screwing up. Google! Definition of massive. That didn't help. Just go massive. Dictionary definition. No, that's the AI overview. No, go away. Dictionary. Where is the... Where is the Google Dictionary that used to pop up? Are you freaking kidding me? It's gone. You little frick. Fine, dictionary.com. Massive. Okay, it's just bulky, heavy, large, heavy looking, large in scale, amount, or degree, solid or substantial. And in mineralogy, it's having no outward crystal form. Okay, that's weird. Sorry, I just had to Google definitions real quick, because I wanted to be sure, you know? So yeah, the lab system would need to be equally enormous, and much of that is probably just water. Because, like, both as a radiation shield and, you know, supporting yourself and whatever the hell you're doing. Because there would absolutely, like, at this scale, there would absolutely be, I wonder what you would call it. What would you call it? Like a greenhouse, but it's on a ship. Grow room? No. Garden room? What do you think? Biosphere, maybe? No. Maybe not. Farm room? Farm room seems like it would work. Because, like, fresh food is vital for any long-term trip, because there's no way you can store enough for an entire trip, even for a single person. So you'd need to basically have a self-contained ecosystem. Coma. What kind? Is it like, would it be like a cryogenesis? No, it's not cryogenesis. Is that the word? I forget. Freezing the dude. Because if it's just like they sleep, they still consume resources. Like a sleeping human still consumes resources. That's why coma patients need an IV drip. Because they still consume resources in order to stay alive. Even if they sleep. And sure, it's maybe, like... How efficient, though? Like, in terms of the raw nutrients, and calories that go in, like the actual resource count, what is it compared to regular food? Because I acknowledge that it is significantly more efficient, but it's never going to be more than an order of magnitude more efficient. I highly doubt an IV drip is able to reduce the amount of resources going into the system by 10 times. Like, the weight of the resources. Like, that is not gonna happen. Like, I reckon you'd need is about half the amount of raw material, like, in terms of weight, compared to regular food for IVs. Yeah. That's... I don't know the numbers, so I'm not gonna make up the numbers. It's still a lot of food, and an IV drip, in terms of mass, I think it cuts it down by probably... It cuts it down to half or a third of that amount, because it's the resources going directly into the system, plus the system gets reduced over time, simply due to the inactivity. Pen. So, putting the passengers to sleep, it would help. But yeah, I reckon it wouldn't reduce the amount of material needed to sustain them by any more than a fifth. And even then, that's only while they are asleep. When they are up and about and active and doing all that stuff, they still consume the normal amount, as well as the normal food. So... And that's the other thing, keeping that food fresh while they're in a coma doesn't really work. Like, it's still going to be it's still going to be years between going to sleep and waking up, and how are you going to keep the food preserved that long? Specifically, keeping the food preserved in a way that they are still nutritionally dense when you wake up. Because I really don't think the nutrition will survive that long. So you would need, basically, a farm room. So, yeah. Like, you would need at least... Yeah, you'd need a farm room, even if it's self-regulating and self-sufficient, you'd still need the farm room. Like, it'd just be on, like, some kind of sleep mode for most of the trip. Oh, no, better. You could just have the seeds in a really well-protected area. Like, really heavily shielded. And then, before the passengers are going to be woken up, ship basically automatically plants a few fields of crops, which will turn into food. Yeah, managed by robots, definitely. But to ensure the system functions optimally, it would only be active... No, it'd only be active for like a couple weeks before the passengers awaken, so that when they awaken, they have some fresh food, and maybe there would be some extremely long life food that you could preserve for the amount of time that the people would be in a coma. So if a harvest isn't ready when they immediately wake up, they can survive off basically the what would you call it? Nutrient bricks. Basically surviving off nutrient bricks until the first harvest. And then they'd mostly eat fresh food along with the occasional nutrient brick. Yeah, that would be how that would work. Nah, the beans would decay before then. Like, even if you removed all the bacteria, they would still degrade. Can't preserve stuff easy. Nutrient bricks would be the easiest to preserve, and you'd still need a layer that is specifically meant to be removed, because that will have degraded, protecting the internal stuff. Like, there'd still be a shell of basically nothing but dirt. Not even dirt, it'd just basically be raw material surrounding the actual nutrition. Which is kind of funny, to be honest. Wake up, grab a nutrient brick, take it out the packaging, grab a knife, cut off the outer centimeter. Now you can eat it, because the outer centimeter is no longer edible. It's just basically raw material. It's not nutrition. That'd be sucky to wake up to, but it would work. Okay, so first part of this would absolutely be that it folds out. And what I mean by that is basically it'll fold in probably 3 locations, so that when it's reeled back in, it's nice and condensed and fits neatly. But when it's extended like this, it'd fold out. So let me draw it. So condensed. Oh, stream gone. What? We back? Can you see that? Hello? Hello? Is stream gone? Hello? Hello? Is stream gone? Hello? 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 Apparently stream's gone. Oh, we're back? We're back. On my end, nothing happened. Like, there wasn't even a disconnection. Oh, that's weird. Dang it, what was I thinking about before then? Crap. Ah, yes, folding. Folding. So, the, living quarters lab section. That's entirely possible, Riser. Entirely possible. Anyway, I was talking about how this would, the section over here, it would fold up in order to be in a more condensed state around here. So it'd sort of look like this in its folded state, with the tether either coming from here or up here. Now it's crashed. Where can I hide the 7? It is 2950. Have we gotten back yet? Have we returned? Are we back? It was 2920. Have we returned? Are we back? We back? Nice. Anyway, living section / lab. It'd basically fold up like this. Here's the tether. Let me actually make it Oh wait, I can't do that. I have to actually use the eraser because I written stuff between me making this. So it'd look something like that, probably. And it'd extend a little bit, unfold, then finish extending. These sections here would hang on to the tether. Let's grab this, chuck it. Let's zoom way the F in and use my mouse. Pop it here. There we go. Now this thing will be fairly large. By fairly large, I mean about yay. Let's actually do this. Send that along there. Yoink this. Go here, here. Link. Link. I reckon that wide will be good. What I do. Nope, that didn't work. Wait, I can just use this one. Zoom way the F in. Bing. To do that. Now we can remove that, grab this. This is the lab section. And I'm gonna be real, most of the outer casing, because remember, this thing is huge. This distance here is 1 kilometer. So this, so this point here is 2 kilometers away from this point here. It's big. Very big. So I reckon around that much is actual empty space. Like something that is that thick going around. That's empty space. The rest is water. Like, sure, there's a bit of mechanical stuff, but otherwise it's just water. Actually, do I need to have it fold? I don't think I do, considering... Yeah, I don't need to have it fold, considering this is probably going to be an orbital assembly. Like, this thing was assembled in orbit, so we don't really need to care. Like, about it fitting neatly, because this thing is not going to land on a planet. Hell nah. Absolutely not. There's probably like a lander object, like some kind of lander that's probably occupying a space like down here or something. Hell, it's probably in the middle. Like there'd be a lander that's, yeah, probably attached here or on the base here. Actually, probably a good idea to have it attached here. this lander... Wait, does the actual ship land on a planet? That shouldn't be too spoilery. The fact that it lands on a planet should not be that much of a spoiler. Okay, atmospheric entry is different from, you know, touchdown. Because any old spaceship can enter the atmosphere, and entering the atmosphere can be going as high as, I don't know, like 0.1 bar. Like, you just need to be in the area where you say, like, you just have to be below the line where you say, this is where this planet's atmosphere ends. Like, so for Earth, entering the atmosphere is as high as 99 kilometers, 999 meters from sea level. If you go below 100 kilometers above sea level, if you are less than 100 kilometers above sea level, you are considered in the atmosphere. But at like the 90 to 100 kilometer mark, there's basically no atmosphere. It is so thin that, yes, we say there's an atmosphere because it's just thick enough to be noticeable. Like, so unless it gets like halfway down, like to about half surface pressure, it's really not that impressive. Because, like, sure. Yeah, okay, if it sizzled a little, considering it's a craft made for space travel and not atmospheric entry, that means it probably didn't go below, like, I don't know, 0.05 bar? Like, just low enough that you get visible flames, but not low enough that, it'd rip the craft apart. Because something designed for deep space absolutely would not survive atmospheric re-entry. Not unless it was specifically designed to. Because, like, landing on a planet with an atmosphere is very dangerous. And I know this because of Kerbal Space Program, which makes it significantly easier to land on a planet with an atmosphere. You can still blow up so easily if you do it wrong or have a craft that can't handle it. Like, it's so easy to get blown up. Anyway, yeah, the lab section wouldn't actually fold up, because why would it? It's never gonna land. But it is gonna have a landing module, which would almost certainly be either a single or a pair of space planes. Probably a pair, for mass balancing issues. Oh no, you could have a single one if you just positioned it correctly, so... It'd probably be, like, poking out like, here. And yes, I'm aware of how small I'm making it. This is length accurate. Like, this is the length scale we are dealing with. This kind of space, like, something this big, like, this is a big space plane already. How big is that? If we use my unofficial ruler, I need to zoom out, not in. Okay, I have a measurement. Okay, this curve is, well, not the curve, but here to here, it's about, like, it lands about here, which is 700 meters. So 1/10 of that distance is 70 meters. And this is a little less than a tenth. So this is like in the range of 50 to 60 meters long. This lander here. So yeah, that's a big lander, but it makes sense for the scales we're dealing with. This thing is huge. But it is designed for interstellar travel, so makes sense that it's big. Yeah, this thing is absolutely not designed to do anything other than orbit nearby a planet. And not even that nearby. It'd probably be mid-Earth orbit if it were around Earth. Like, this thing is not meant to go low. Let's see if I can find a fun little image. Here it is. Let me just drag it into here. Here we go. Yeah, it'd probably be in medium Earth orbit. Like, it'd probably exist somewhere around here. Like, absolutely not in low Earth orbit. Like, if it would, like, maybe during construction, it'd sit around... Let me bring out the red pen. It'd probably sit around here, which is about where the Hubble Space Telescope lives. About 500 kilometers up. But it, before it struck out, it would absolutely move to medium Earth orbit. Like, it would absolutely move upwards to around here. Well, between there and here. Before it truly went and struck out. At which point, it would go from about here and probably sling close to the moon. Probably, I reckon it'd get close to the moon in order to slingshot from it. So to go from here all the way out there, it'd pull that kind of maneuver. But it absolutely would not spend much time in low Earth orbit equivalent. Absolutely not. Like, this thing is meant for deep space. Nice! Which one? Oh, nice! Cats have joined the stream. Let's go. Honestly, I don't need to do much more on this section besides maybe, like, big-ass satellite dish. Here, I'm still using the red pen. So, big-ass satellite dish down here. Probably two. That looks like a big-ass fan. Oh, well. Second satellite dish. Actually, there'd be probably a set of three, wouldn't there? Like, you'd have one up here, one here, and if we're looking at it from the end, it'd basically look like that. Like, in terms of positioning of them. Wait, no, you would see the end of that. Okay, that's funky. These are big satellite dishes. Actual satellite dishes would, like, actual communication dishes would be minuscule at this scale. Sorry, I'm struggling to keep the scales in mind. Yeah, don't just back the undo, whatever. like, communications ones, you basically have massive antennas. Oh, wait, how would that look? Because, oh, what would the... Because you'd still be looking for radio waves, right? The issue is, how sensitive do you want to be? And how does... Oh, man, how do you get higher sensitivity? No, more... I think I'll come back to that. Also, here I am, thinking that this section would, like, blow up to encompass this area. No, it didn't. It remained the same. I think it's around the same size as the solar panels on the engine unit. This thing would not have solar panels. Like, the solar panels would be torn off. By centrifugal? Would it be centrifugal or centrifugal? Wait, the same is true on the engine area. Frick. Yeah, these would be pulled out. So they basically have this kind of setup, which would pull down on... Oh, that's crap. I forgot to account for the forces involved, because those are like half a kilometer long. Yikes. I mean, the ones closer were... Wait, because of the length scale... around this far from the center, the pivot point, which is we're saying is here, around that distance away is one Earth gravity. That distance is probably like 100 meters. So this is, I don't know, I'm not going to do the maths, but it's going to be significantly heavier. Well, things will feel significantly heavier down here. Actually, probably Earth gravity equivalent, or, yeah, Earth gravity equivalent would be down here, and up here would be, again, I'm not going to calculate it. It'd be less, a bit less. But that's that difference. That's, like, between here and here, between here and here. Oh, crap. It's the same. It's the same distance. It's 8. It's 9. What was it? 50, 25. Are we back? Have we returned? Are we back? Please tell me when we are back. I would like to know when we are back. Are we back? Cool, we're back. Excellent. So, as I was saying, one Earth gravity is this distance. That's 1 kilometer away from the pivot. I'm gonna estimate that distance is an extra 100 meters. So, one Earth gravity is here. And, ooh, the solar panels are an extra... What is that? I want to say 200 to 300 meters. Yikes. Those solar panels are going to have to be really lightweight and really, really well supported. And they're fold-out ones as well, so that's even more wild. So they'd have to be strong enough to support their own weight at this distance, which I'm just gonna say they are. While simultaneously being able to fold up, which again, I'm gonna say, yes, they are strong enough to do that. Because I didn't consider it until I started making this. But the reason we're having tethers on the tether here is because this is absolutely heavy enough, like it's absolutely massive enough that without extra supports going like along here, it will fall. Like it will get ripped off. Like there's no way it is supporting itself without this sort of structure. To be honest, someone should do the math on this kind of design at these scales, because I'd be really interested in seeing how this design would hold up. Like, again, that's a tether. Let me bring out the red pen. This, that is the eraser. This big thing is the tether. It's meant to be reeled in, so that this section can be slotted in nicely here while the thing is under acceleration. But if someone can do the maths on this, that'd be awesome. Like, that'd be amazing. Like, this kind of design, it's currently vibes coded. But if someone can do the maths, that would be awesome. Because then it would no longer be vibes coded. Which also means there would be multiple engine nozzles, but I'm going to ignore that. Because you do not want a several 100-meter wide nozzle for antimatter engines. You definitely want multiple. You know what? I'm going to fix that. We are going from a single nozzle assembly to a multi-nozzle assembly. Which, in all honesty, would probably look something like... Sorry, black pen. Let me also rotate this 90. It probably looks something like this. Like, very vaguely. Yeah, it'd probably look a lot more like that. So a lot less epic, but significantly more accurate. Let me just make these distinct. Yeah, it looks significantly less epic than a single nozzle, but that is more realistic. An array of nozzles. Because those are closer to like 50 meters. Yeah, those are closer to 50 meters. Definitely less than 100 meters. Like each. Which is still massive for nozzles, but it's a lot more reasonable than the... what? Third of a kilometer we used to have. We had previously. So, yeah. I hate being sick. Being sick sucks. Oh, damn. This is 2 hours of one drawing and the basic physics behind it. Or kind of the basic physics behind it. Damn. This has been fun. I'm gonna be real, this has been fun. Should I keep going? It's nearly 2 o'clock. Yes or no? Should I keep going? Alright. Yeah, alright, for a little longer. Let's start with just pop in just one of these in. I can actually draw it correctly. Yeah, good enough. There we go. And you know what? Let's fill up this little space a bit. Now, what are we thinking for this space? Make sure I just didn't erase. I didn't. Good. Yeah, this space here. Dang it, there goes my pen again. Huh. My brain is braining. I've drawn a blank. Yeah, I'm now suffering from a creative block. Any ideas? Let me just... No save. No save. Background? Planet or something? Yeah. That'd be near orbit. No, that'd still be mid-orbit. Depends on the planet, really. Planets are hard. Like, planets are really complicated. Monochrome gas giant. Oh. Are we back? Have we returned? Are we back? Hello? Hello? We back? We back? Hello? 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 We back? Hello? Don't tell me my chat's not working on my screen. That'd be so annoying. Are we back? Hello? OBS isn't showing my chat if anyone's messaging right now. But if that's not the case, then there's no issues. Are we back? Hello? Don't know if we're back yet. Hello? Hello? I'm not seeing any updates on my screen. Yeah, there's no chat updates on my OBS. Last message was from 4 minutes ago. So are we back? Genuinely can't tell if we're back. Yeah, I'm just gonna start sketching. And just hope that chat starts working again. Yeah, I've fully run out of ideas of things to draw. And considering that we've just had the 10th crash of the stream, I think now is as good a time as any to end the stream. So, I hope everyone who's watched has had a great time. Sorry about all the crashes. I don't have a fix yet. I'm pretty sure the only thing that'll work is finding a new internet provider, or at the very least getting my computer hardwired into the Wi-Fi. Oh, have we just gotten back? You missed me deciding that it's the end of stream, rather. So, yep. Anyway. Maybe. I don't know. Either way, again, hope everyone had a good time this stream. VOD will be on my YouTube, as always. Yeah, I think that's it. Hope you guys have a nice week. I will see you next stream, which is Sunday, same time. Anyway, bye!